Sports Connection, sponsored by Sterling Chiropractic.
Happy Sunday, everyone. Brian Webb here, WBKO Sports Connection. Caden Gaylord Day is on assignment, so you get yours truly for the next half hour. We got a great show in store for you today, but we're going to start it with a good friend of mine and colleague. He's a man of many hats. You can see him on WKU Hilltopper Baseball home games as the PA guy. He is also adjunct professor at Western, teaching marketing and graphic design. He's also full-time employed at Fruit of the Loom here in Bowling Green, Warren County. But my favorite thing he does is host of the Red Legs radio report on ESPN 102.7. I kid you a lot, Jason Harbison joining us tonight. First of all, thanks for coming.
Hey, thanks so much. I feel like I owe you $20, Brian, for that rousing intro there. So I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
$20, that would be 1987 prices, Jason.
Okay, good to know.
Inflation is a real thing, and we're going to have to adjust that number. No, I wanted to do a lot of chatting with you and have you on the show because it was an opportunity to highlight what you do. I joke with you a lot because we work out of the same studio at ESPN 102.7 there, Commonwealth Broadcasting, and your show has been going on longer than mine, but unless they move baseball to full year-round play, you're probably never going to catch my number of episodes. Right. So that's what I got looming over Jason Harbison. 11 years, I think?
Yeah, actually we're in our 12th full season on air, but like you said, Brian, when we're on 102.7, the Red Legs Radio Report on Saturday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m. Central, of course. We've been doing that as long as the season goes. We basically go from the end of March, which is kind of the tail end of spring training, all the way up through October. We've been doing that for 12 years with my co-host Todd Smith and I, and we love doing it, and we love having you on the show as many times as humanly possible.
Yeah, I get to come on there sometimes, but usually I'm in costume, and we're having some fun with it. We could tell stories. We don't have enough time for all those. Well, first of all, let's talk about the Reds and your close connection. You are an affiliate of the Reds here, and many years, you guys have been interviewing players, and it's really a local show with a national reach, the way I look at it.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, by the way. So we're lucky enough with being we're actually the southwestmost Reds affiliate for all of the radio affiliates for the Cincinnati Reds, Brian. And with that comes a lot of great things. We have a Reds guest on every show that we've had for the last 12 years, and that's either a broadcaster, maybe a former player, from like the 1990 team, as well as maybe somebody that's a current player right now. And with that, we also get to do some really fun things. We have the Reds Fest, which is I always call like a Comic-Con for Reds fans up in Cincinnati every year. And although we had off the last 2 years because of the pandemic, started up again this December, where they bring us one guest after another, and again, these are all former Reds, current Reds, and broadcasters. And then actually the Reds Caravan has been coming to our mall here, the Greenwood Mall, where they actually bring a panel of Reds players, again, former, current Reds players and broadcasters, and we get to do our show live on stage at both of those events, and we just love doing that.
Yeah, and I don't know if people realize what a loyal following the Cincinnati Reds have here locally. And growing up, you're from Ohio, so you had some, a plethora of professional sports teams. Growing up here, it was either the Bengals, the Reds, or maybe the St. Louis when the Rams were there, and the Cardinals. But really, that's why I feel like we have a lot of Braves fans, a lot of Dodgers fans, just kind of mixed match but loyalty-wise, there's a lot of Reds fans here.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. And what's really amazing to me, kind of back to my comment about the Reds Caravan here, like you said, I'm originally from Ohio, but I've been down here 24 years for my day job at Fruit of the Loom that you gave me in my intro. And when we first had the Caravan come to our mall, I remember telling some of our managers at the radio station, I'm like, oh, there might be 15 people. There's no way this far south. And it is packed every year. Even last year, after the Reds had lost 100 games, the mall was packed this past January, which is just amazing to me. There's a line that goes all the way down some of the corridors there at the mall. So that's just a testament, like you said, of the Reds fandom in this region, especially this far south in Kentucky.
Yeah, great stuff. And I've got to see some of those caravans myself. It's amazing how many people show up for that. And it's cool that the Reds do that, to kind of mingle with the fans. I think that is a very, very big deal. for a professional sports team to do that. Well, before we get out of here, we never have a lot of time. We got a great show coming up for you. Started it off right with Jason Harbison. Did you win your Derby picks?
I didn't, but you did actually. I'm going to go behind the scenes here, Brian. You were texting me during yesterday's show some of your picks. I put it out there to everyone because I don't really know enough about horses, and I'll just say that you're picked it. A lot of people didn't win any money on me announcing your pick.
Don't listen to me. I did say about a week out, bet horse 8 before I even knew what the horse's name was, but I'll just like the number. Jason, tell me a little bit about WKU PA there for the Hilltoppers. I think we've seen a major changing of the guard with Coach Reardon. I mean, what he's been able to do is amazing.
Yeah, it's been really amazing. In my 10 years, I've been doing PA for Western baseball for 10 years, not as long as I've been on air, but you're right. Reardon coming in there and kind of bringing that blue-collar work ethic that he's bringing from the kind of the JUCO level that he is familiar with has been really refreshing. And they've kind of hit a little bit of a snag now as far as their record goes. But, man, they started out the season. It was one of the best seasons that they've ever had. And I was also super lucky enough to call, PA call, I should say, not the radio call, but do the PA call for the no-hitter that Devin Turbrack had, which was the first no-hitter since, I believe, 2009 that Western Kentucky had. So that was a very historic day for me and one of my great kind of career moments. So that was great for me. Well,
we got about a minute left, Jason, and I guess I'm going to ask you that, elephant in the room question. Will the Cincinnati Reds in our lifetime win another World Series? But what do you think, seriously, what direction are the Reds headed in?
I think they've got such a youth movement that's going on right now. And with their 1, 2, 3 starters, which would be Green, Lodolo, and Ashcraft, they've got a lot of young talent that's coming up through the minors. So to answer your bigger question, I think it'll be when our grandkids will be alive. It might be when our grandkids are kind of coming of age there. But we'll see it. We'll see it. Maybe not this year or next year, but it's coming.
Well, you heard it from Jason Harbison. We'll still be kicking, hopefully, when the Reds hoist that World Series trophy up in October. Hope it happens. You can, until then, though, you can tune in every Saturday before and a little bit into the postseason there of the Cincinnati Reds and get a close connection to some of these Major League Baseball players through Jason Harbison here on Redlegs Radio Report. That's 9 a.m. Central on Saturdays, 102.7 ESPN. You can also listen to that, Jason, streaming. If you're not local, you can tune in by intranet. Everything can be done by internet these days, and that's at ESPNRadio1027.com. Jason Harbison, it's a pleasure, buddy, to have you as a friend and a colleague.
Yeah, this street works both ways, sir. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. For a guy that's face is made for radio, I mean, this is great. Thanks so much, Brian.
That's good stuff. Jason Harbison, everybody. We'll be right back with more on WBKO Sports Connection right here on ABC 13.